So episode 2.
Episode 2. Season 4, episode 2. Wow.
Levels of excitement.
We just don't give up, do we?
We are on
Like
fire.
a dog with a bone.
So today is a series of firsts.
Okay.
First South African, first pencil winner, and first person who has, I think, banned from a country for doing a billboard.
Wow.
Shelly Smoler, ECD of Droga 5.
I really can't wait for this.
Yeah, so it's going to be good. We've been after Shelley for a long time.
Your friend Peter's been holding her back until we reach critical mass for our audience.
Peter Wardle, thank you, Peter, for getting us in touch with Shelley, and Bill Scott as well, more ex-BBHs. So the BBH family is helping us out. And I think it's going to be really interesting because the Zimbabwean is something you've talked about, haven't you? The people, wheelbarrows and money and that mad time over there.
Yeah, can't wait. Do you know what? I think we should get Peter in for an episode as well. He spent his career in agencies.
Why not?
We should hear the PA story.
Yeah.
He's now head of
Wardle on billboards.
He's now head of project management as well.
Yeah, at Droga 5. And he likes to talk. So,
let's get Peter in.
On you, right. Peter, he heard us next episode. But we'll do Shelley for now. Do you want to go and get her?
Yeah, I'll go get her.
All right, mate. See you in a minute. Right, okay, let's be professional. Shelly Smoler.
For once.
Welcome to Behind the Billboard.
Well, thank you very much.
And I'm pleased I've said your surname right, Smoler. We've had a thing about double L and lost L on the passport, but it's Shelly Smoler.
Shelly Smoler.
Yes, it's a very long story. I won't waste your time with it, but both are right,
good.
Basically.
So just a note to Peter Wardle. Thank you, Peter, for correcting us. Just wanted to get that one straight out of the way. So thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We know you're super busy, smashing it with Droga 5 and pitches. Good luck today.
Smashing it, but thank you.
Co-chairing campaign, big awards, and also doing Christmas ads with Peter Crouch,
yes.
which we like. So thanks for coming in. How is life at Droga 5? How is it?
Life is good at Droga 5. Life is very busy at Droga 5 at the moment, which is good, I guess. Yeah, nice, exciting stuff happening, and lots of pictures.
Ready for Crimbo?
As ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
You look quite Christmassy. I need to just describe. You've got wonderfully sparkly sort of
it is quite sparkly, very out of character, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But always colour.
Yeah.
But not often sparkles. But it is, like you say, it's that time of the year.
And you did tell us you've got a costume change in the bag. Not for us specifically.
It's not for you specifically, no. But I mean, I did save the best for you. But there is a costume change in the bag for later this evening.
So I've got to quickly ask, how was Crouchy? Pete?
Oh, he's amazing.
Did you actually meet him?
Yes.
What's
he's
he like?
So great. He's such a good sport. He's just up for anything.
Really? Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, he really is.
Just give me the money.
Yeah, I mean, he was like, even, I mean, in the previous ad when we did the pole dancing scene, he was like,
God,
that's great.
That
yeah,
one.
no problem. It's just like water up. Yeah, he'll just do anything.
So he doesn't have a manager you have to go through does it have to all go through someone a bit? To sort of,
Well, luckily I don't deal with much of the logistics of that, but
yeah, I'm sure
there's not a whole lot of that. I mean, they deal with, and Paddy Power mostly deal with him, and I'm sure they might go through a manager, but he's very flexible and accommodating and really nice. He stayed over and he was fine with it.
I think I saw something that said like Crouch Fest or something at the O2. Like a proper event with him in it.
Is it? Is it a podcast thing?
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's where we're headed.
Well, for this,
to the O2. To go and watch Peter Crouch? You mean?
Yeah.
That's where you go. No, for this thing, he even had his own. They released an album with carols. And,
oh, really?
Which is an amalgamation of, like
what a good spot. I mean, he's a funny guy, right?
Yeah, and he's just done the whole thing. So it's he's really.
Sorry, we're going to already off on a tangent, but his dad used to be my boss. So Bruce Crouch.
No ways.
At BBH, when Heg sort of went a little bit aside, and Bruce came, and then so. His son used to come in, and even at that age, he was quite tall. And everyone would go, "Who's that?" And they go, "Oh, that's his son. He's quite a good footballer." Quite tall, yeah.
Oh my God.
But he was only about 15 or 16, so everyone's going, yeah, whatever. No, Peter Crouch is like basically his dad's boss. Really, isn't he? Bruce,
exactly.
I didn't mean that. Hear that. Anyway, so we've got to stay on track. I just wanted to ask quickly, how does it work with Droga? I'm fascinated because obviously he's in New York, but does he pop in to see you, or do you updates? Because I know he's really passionate about the work and everything, isn't he?
Very, yeah. No, he's a very busy man these days, with Accenture Song and Droga and all of that. So last I saw him was probably at Cannes, where we had a few get-togethers. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we do have these. I guess I've seen him online. We do have these kind of get-togethers, monthly get-togethers, where we go through the work and all of that.
And is he hands-on with the work that's coming out of all the different offices?
On some things he is, yeah, definitely on the bigger pitches and things. He's definitely involved still, yeah, absolutely.
Does he still love that? Because I remember his was obviously passionate about the work, but there was something different in that he made shit happen. Basically, I remember when we were there and we had this idea for a sex shop, and it was all people at the point of orgasm. He's going, "Yep, we can do that," and it was just like. And it happened, was no problem.
Yeah.
And does he imbue the offices with that belief in a way?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's just ingrained in our culture. Yeah. It's a very can-do attitude. Anything can be done, should be done. Fight to get the best ideas out there. It's very much...
It's like a kind of disruptor mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely is.
Sally Ann Dale, when she went over, because I used to work for her in London, and she said... It's quite interesting. She said one of the main things he did was employ producers more than anything else to produce things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The doers. And
the doers.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's very true. I mean, I've worked at many agencies, not giving my age away, but everyone says they're all about the creativity and the work, but I've never worked at a place where it genuinely is so focused on the work and getting it out there than as it is in Droga.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah.
So the first kind of regular segment that we have is called the billboard at the end of my street. And spoiler alert, you said to us in the cafe that the end of your street is outside of the office because you're spending half your life there at the moment.
Pretty much, I'd say definitely more than half.
That's technically at home then, isn't it?
So what have you seen out and about that?
I'm surrounded by my own work. I'm just unashamedly just going to advertise all our...
I mean, do they buy those sites on purpose because the office is there so you get to see it?
It could be part of the plan, but not that I'm aware of. I just, I go through Liverpool Street Station every day, which is opposite our building pretty much, and Amazon Books is all over there. So that was the one thing. And then we've done this campaign for one of our new clients called Planted, and it's literally outside our office as well. And the funny thing with that is we didn't have a very big budget to produce it. So all the models are actually our staff.
Oh, really?
So it's really funny because I'm surrounded by their faces at work all day, and then I go out and I'm still surrounded by their faces everywhere. So it's just haunting me.
That's a bit disturbing.
Yeah, a little bit.
The nice thing about that is for everyone in the agency, they're going to go out there and take a photo of the billboard and share it with their friends and family.
Exactly,
right? I'm on a billboard.
I've even bought photos of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So come on,
This is Patrick over here.
This is so efficient. No one's actually brought their own photo.
Yeah, a real live printout.
East London, we've got Taste Will Save Us.
Yeah, Taste Will Save Us was the line, the campaign line that we came up with.
Really nice.
That does look good, actually. I could do one of those.
It's really delicious. I'm now going to use this as an ad for Planted.
Is it a meat alternative?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and hold on, what is that? An old phone box?
Yeah. Yeah, true story. I didn't even comp that. It's actually, if you go there, you will see it.
So I looked. Here's another one. This is right. Yeah, this is. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's better. That's really good. That virtually sort of looks like the one at the end of my street. I mean, what it is.
Yeah.
This feature, isn't it, is to just talk a little bit about. So we'll go through this. Egg Planted, Taste Will Save Us. Because it's your own thing.
Yes.
We're going to have to not. Do you want to review it, or should we review it, Dan?
No, I can't review my own work. So.
Okay, I'll review
also, these are very bad printouts, so I can show you more online. I mean, they're really not doing it justice.
Obviously, you need to keep in with the creative community, especially ECDs I like. So I think it's really good. No, actually, to be fair, it's an ad which works, and I think it looks fine and nice. We have seen... I don't know. Well, we should send you some of the things we've looked at. They don't actually look like ads. They look like things that someone made for their village fate, or so
Yes.
it does all.
Remember that cyber
It almost looks like
security one?
travel brochures on billboards at times.
But do you remember that local advertising in cinemas, how poor it used to be for the local curry shop or for the local toy shop?
Yeah.
Some of the billboards that we've seen at the end of people's streets look like they've been mocked up in the
They really do.
a lawyer's office, or the cybersecurity one was terrible.
Exactly. And there's just, I often wonder, like, could anyone actually read that? And there's just so much information you don't know where to look.
My favourite one ever, I don't know if it was Graham Fink or something, it was the marlin fish.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with, it was financial services, because I was going, quite interesting looking fish. Anyway, so this taste will save us is a good line.
At least he's eating food.
Yeah, he's eating food. It looks tasty. It's got three things going on: a headline, a visual, and a logo. So I think it does
the things that we always talk about. The simplicity is there. So we always talk about that for what works in the out-of-home space. But this segment is always it's always a gateway for us to try and talk to people about the state of the industry in general right now, and the other stuff that you've seen when you're out and about on your way to and from the office, and internationally traveling. What do you? Are we in a golden age? Are we in a kind of a weird stagnant age of outdoor? What do you feel that we're in right now in terms of our industry for?
I feel like we're in a weird in-between phase. It's almost like, and it depends where you look. I mean, if you look at the award shows, I think the standard's great. I mean, we're doing really well. Like, there's a lot of good out-of-home advertising at the moment. But like you say, when you walk down the street and you look there, it's just this bombardment of stuff that you can't really decipher. So it is an in-between stage. And also, with, technology and the advancement of it, there's more interesting stuff happening in the billboard space. And
is that on the digital side? Yeah,
I think so, with the 3D protruding things that you can do. And it just gives you a little bit more kind of opportunities to be clever with the medium. But I still think, there's a lot of, when I look at award shows and things like that, then I think there's some really smart, clever use of the medium. But in reality, I think the story is a little bit different.
And percentages wise, I mean, I think personally, I think the really good work gets elevated really quickly.
Absolutely.
And that's the stuff that we're all seeing in award shows.
Exactly.
That ends up winning some metal. But percentage wise, good work to work that definitely could be better. I'm not going to say crap work or because I think there's the number of sites that we have now. Digitization has been part of that, and the mass media owners, they're always looking for new walls and new ways to sell the space. I think because there is so much advertising out there,
definitely,
it's sometimes quite hard to create for the different size canvases, and people kind of get stuck in the ways that we're working. So it's hard to judge the percentage of good work.
It is hard, and then you get the special bills, which are quite incredible as well.
I love a special bill.
Yeah, me too.
We all like those. I mean, I think we did something a while back with Vicky Ross where we did this thing called a copy safari, which was really interesting. She walked us around a whole part of London, and you just see what's really on the streets and what's working, what isn't. And she says it was clients and stuff, but it was really eye-opening. And the good stuff sings even louder then because there's so much noise.
Absolutely.
People cramming shit on there. And I think the best stuff was those sunglasses, wasn't it? It was just so clear.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
And so give us an example of the best thing you've seen recently. Not necessarily from the agency, but anywhere outdoors.
Well, there's a few examples. I mean, I love the stuff that Adam and Eve did with the last photo.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just think that's so striking and just so surprising, to see, and it's such a beautiful insight brought to life really, really simply.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's way up there in one of my definite favorite pieces of work.
It's really interesting saying that because we have Scott Silvey, who was the lead designer on that.
Oh, really?
Soon.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Well, please pass on my admiration for his work, because I do love that.
I think the thing, like Dan said, I suppose, when there is a good piece of work, because of the social channels we have now, stuff gets very quickly shared.
Oh, yeah.
Liked, praised, etc., which is right.
Yeah.
Going back to what you're talking about, the
that.
special builds, the special builds can tend to be on one or two different locations.
Yeah.
But they get shared socially. So, we don't all get to see them in real life.
Exactly that.
The Marmite Dynamite from a couple of years ago, BBC Dracula, some of the amazing...
Xbox Survival.
Yeah, the Survival of the Grittiest.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see... I didn't see any of those in real life.
Saw it online.
But they were on my social feed and they have been blown out. The audience that would normally see a poster has been... The numbers...
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And also... I think everyone thinks that, in order to do that or to really get through, you really need to spend a lot of money. But that's not the case at all. I mean, I saw a campaign recently that was done, I think, in Toronto, Canada, where they just used the wall and the cracked walls as the medium for advertising skincare, which I thought was really smart because it's just literally posting up posters on the wall. But I guess that's a special build because they used the environment in a different way. So
absolutely. So is outdoor one of your favorite mediums for you and your creative teams to as a playground?
Yes, I love out of home. I think what we try and do often, especially when we're coming up with big campaign platforms, is we try to do out of home first. And the reason for that is because that really distills it down to the core of the idea in its simplest format, purest format. If you can explain it in a sentence, the whole idea, then you know that it's a good idea. Yeah. Whereas if you have to have a long story to bring it to life, then you're
those
pretty
posters
screwed.
you talked about.
Yeah.
And is that something that you kind of instill in new creative teams coming in? Is that a kind of tell me what it looks like as a poster before
Always, there's always going to be, one of the first ways of articulating the idea is always on a poster. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, sure. I remember Heg saying that over and over, there was that keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
It was, and it's sort of, it then becomes really focused, doesn't it? You go, okay, that's square. Now tell me the story.
Exactly.
And that's why it always, when it's finished, doesn't it? It looks so simple and easy, and yet it's taking you forever to distill this thing down. But it's the place to start, isn't it?
It has to be. It absolutely has to be. I think that's the best way to test the strength of the idea. Yeah.
We should.
We were joking about people taking photos of the billboards when they're on billboards and the fame of the agency, but it reminds. We always talk about this as our very first billboards. Remember the first ones that went out on the streets. Do you remember your very first billboard?
So.
You can lie if you want.
I'd like to forget it, is the honest answer. I mean, if I had to...
some people have come in with some really D&AD going, really? Was that your first one?
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought about lying, but no, my very first billboard was an absolute turd. It was like basically a novel on a billboard, and it was for the South African Revenue Services. And the truth is, I've erased it from our memory, and it was so long ago that it's even been erased from the internet.
From the internet.
Yeah, which is great.
Well, we'll just have a blank page in the deck.
Do you not think
I can put my next... Yeah.
But do you not think in our industry, it is okay to fail, right? Yeah, that's how we learn. We have all had failures.
Plenty of failures. I'm actually very good at failing.
Yeah. The ministry of failure.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it's important for us to see. I've definitely worked on bad projects, and you go that we shouldn't have put that out, but the client's paying the bill and they've signed it off, and you go, okay, let's move on to the next project and be better.
Yeah.
So the second billboard, then you're more proud of?
Yes, definitely more proud of. I don't know I'm trying to think if it was actually my second, but in my memory it is my second, so I'm just going to go with that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a piece of work we did for Enterprise Polony in South Africa.
What's that?
It's kind of like a cold meat that you put on sandwiches and salads. Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's a very well-known brand in South Africa, and basically what they were doing was it's like a French polony, and they were releasing a bigger pack. So the insight was, if you get a bigger pack, you can give bigger slices to the ones you love.
Right. Okay.
So the whole campaign was called Favorites, and it was like in the shape of a polony. And then there were slices, but the slices were thicker over the favorite people. Yeah, just one simple, striking visual.
Just because this is a non-running joke, Hugh loves a timeline. You started your career in Johannesburg.
Yes, that's right.
Working in agency, and you moved over here to BBH.
Exactly.
And
exactly
did you do
right,
your the ham sandwich?
Yeah.
Was that at Hunt Lascaris? Or
that was at Hunt Lascaris, that's right.
Yeah, because that was the Hunt Lascaris, incredibly famous agency, not just in South Africa, but around the world. And I remember when my bosses actually after Droga was Tony Granger, and he'd been at Hunt, and loads of people have. So I imagine that was a pretty amazing place to work. But then you know what, we've got to get the order right, because we're going to go into, let's do the work now because of Zimbabwe.
So did you go and take a photo of the Polony ad, and does it live in your memory as your official first billboard?
Yes, it lives in my memory as the first official billboard.
Okay.
And I do have a photo of it.
Do you? Oh, good.
Yeah.
And you send it to your parents, and
I had to.
I'm famous. There's my work.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
At least
that was my claim to fame.
I remember telling my mum once I had an advert in the Sunday Times, and she said, "Are you on the front cover?" I said, "Well, Mum, it's quite confusing. I go in the Sunday Times, but it's like there's 84 pages. But if you go poster, it's so much simpler, isn't it?
It is way simpler. Yeah, it's out in the real world, and you can see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to dig into the work now, and it's no surprise we're going to start with the Zimbabwean newspaper, which is from 2009. So this campaign you did won a D&AD Black Pencil. You're our first ever Black Pencil winner. Ta-da!
Oh, wow.
On the show. A Cannes Grand Prix, and I imagine like a shit ton of other stuff, like loads and loads of metal things.
Yes.
And then you're also part of the permanent collection. I'm reading this off the list at the British Museum and the Design Museum. So that is one hell of a haul. Could you tell us about it? Could you tell us what was going on in the country at the time and how you got to this idea? I'm not going to spoil it, but let you say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So at the time, the Zimbabwean newspaper was forced into exile, and on top of that, they put a 55% luxury import duty on the newspaper, which means that it couldn't get into the hands of the people that needed it most.
Right.
And as we know, one of the most eloquent symbols of Zimbabwe's downfall was the high inflation and the Zimbabwean note. So we took that symbol and we thought, what can we do to bring to life the dire situation there and the fact that the inflation's so high and no one can afford anything. And that's when we came up, we had to do something really striking. And we were like, originally, it means so little, you could literally just hand out the money. That's kind of how we started. It was...
was that weird? It must have been a weird time.
Yeah.
So... how were people? What was the vibe? Was it just a...
Well, I mean, it's just a really sad, dire situation.
Yeah.
And of course, you want to do everything you can to help. And
I remember, the news at the time here, we were, the news coverage on the BBC was kind of people were walking with wheelbarrows full of money to
that's
pay for
exactly
local
it. I mean, we were
bread,
we were seeing the same thing, people with bags and bags of cash trying to get a loaf of bread.
Oh my God.
Which is exactly what sparked this, because we were like, you could literally, we were just chatting about exactly that. And we were like, it's so worthless. You could literally, our original idea was to just drop the money, hand it out, show how meaningless and worthless it is. But we were like, that's not really going to go down well. So we were like, what else can we do? And that's when we came up with the idea, well, what if we actually use the money as the paper, because it costs so little. It's probably cheaper to print it on the money than it would be to print it on the paper itself.
So I'm intrigued now. So... wait a minute, I'm just going to go back. We're just looking at what looks like a 96 sheet. So did someone have to stick the pieces of money to it?
Yes.
Who did that?
Honestly, there were 4 of us who worked on this campaign.
With some ladders, yeah?
No, luckily we didn't actually climb the ladders to put this on. But this is actually down the road from my house. Literally, this
The
billboard
original
from my
billboard
house
at the
at
end
the
of your
time.
street.
Yeah, this is the original billboard at the end of my
And
street.
the headline says, "Thanks to Mugabe, this money is wallpaper."
Yeah, and that is all real money that
Jeez.
we, all of us at the agency, literally taped together ourselves and then got it screen printed by a friend of ours onto these things that we created, and then that was posted up.
And when you did it, well, because there's another one we're going to look at now. It's just a wall, and a guy's walking past this wall.
Yeah,
and
that was a wall mural.
And you just
outside.
That is just money.
That's just money. I mean, we were just getting bags and bags and bags of this money, and we were literally putting it all together. And
did you feel like kind of, I don't know, led by donkeys kind of did that thing, didn't they, where they were subversively redoing posters? Did you feel a bit like you are kind of this little kind of secret? I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And it felt a bit like it was a bit dirty and and it's so sad when you think about, where it comes from and actually handling the money itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so, it was really.
But did you do it? In fact, you didn't do it under the cover of darkness. Did you just do it in the day? Like it was all legit? Yeah. And did you
because we were in South Africa and this was all happening in Zimbabwe. So it was, I don't think.
And was there a backlash?
I don't think any of us will ever be allowed back in there. In fact, during this all, the editor's mother passed away in Zimbabwe, and he wasn't allowed back in even to go to the funeral
because they were in exile.
Yeah.
Jesus. That's pretty brutal.
Was there a backlash on the agency at all from the Zimbabwean government or anything?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't know that there was much they could do about it. But
we haven't. We trumpeted on our Instagram feed yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, that we might have someone on the show who's been banned from a country for a billboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
is that you?
I mean, it's not official, but yes, that would be me.
You might be on the list.
Me and the others that did this, yes, are probably on the one to the other
first South African, first Black Pencil winner, first person banned.
Exactly.
It's not bad. I mean, I'm like Dan. I remember seeing it. I was going to say as a kid, but I can't have been a kid because I'm quite old. But I remember seeing it and thinking, well, fucking hell, that's amazing as an idea. And then it was such a brilliantly clear idea. It absolutely made the event in my mind, it's marked. And so there's a real point in time, isn't it, this?
I mean, huge kudos to you for this, because there are great posters that live long in the books of, and the awards annuals that we all collect. And there are incredible posters that live in museums and are taught in the history books. And this is one of those that elevates beyond the awards annuals and goes into Design Museum, and it goes into the history books as a kind of activist type poster.
Yeah.
It's great. It's amazing. Did you think at the time, when you're doing something, you're thinking, I'm just getting my head down and doing it. But did you think, how soon afterwards did you realize it was like, wow, was it maybe when the awards came, or was there a load of PR?
I have to be honest, like, how you said, the best ideas are the simplest ones. Mm. This was so simple, and I'll never ever forget it, because the team that I worked on this with, which is Raf, Nadia, and Nick, actually, that we spoke about earlier, we were sitting outside after, a long day of executing these things, and we were like, I can't decide if it's just so simple that it's absolutely stupid, or it's
too simple.
Yeah, is it too simple? I mean, is it obvious? Like, is it just something obvious that we're saying, or is it really smart? Like we were all like, I don't know. We'll wait and find out.
It's quite weirdly Droga-esque, and it's just fucking do it. Get up there, slam that those notes on the wall, and don't overthink it.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think we were all just so passionate about it and passionate about the cause, and I think it just shines through the work. And,
yeah, it's good.
Was it so you must have been not that long into your career possibly, and was it your ticket out of South Africa to BBH in London, or did you stay longer for a bit? What was your timeline?
Well, we stayed a little bit longer. Actually, we did another campaign after this for Zimbabwean.
Right.
And if you ask Nick Gill, he says he didn't hire us on the basis of the Zimbabwean.
Okay.
He says it was the Adidas campaign that we did that actually caught his eye. So I don't know the answer to that. It could be. I do think definitely we definitely got more recognition from this campaign than we have for anything else we've done.
And for you two personally, the time to leave South Africa was right and come and try.
It was right. We had been, Huntly Scorus was great. Like you say, it's one of, we learned so much there and it was incredible, but it was time to move on. We'd been there like 6 years. We had itchy feet. We wanted to see what else was out there. Yeah. And the truth is we weren't specifically looking to come to London. But we were looking to go elsewhere and, explore greener pastures. So
it's a pretty good place to land.
Yeah. Absolutely. So and then BBH called us and we came on a surprisingly sunny March weekend and we were just sold.
BBH turned the weather on for you.
They did, yes. They did. They organised really sunny weather.
Yeah, Hegarty's really powerful.
He's really powerful.
He's got the sun.
He does.
So how long, because we're actually going to talk about a campaign next from Droga 5, but just to quickly finish, because we obviously did lots of great work at BBH as well. How long were you there for?
We were there for about 5 years.
And is that where you met David?
Yes.
The other David.
Exactly.
Not Droga.
David Colbert.
Yeah, David.
Yes, that's where I met
Because
David.
we have David lined up this series as well.
Oh, really?
So yeah, hopefully your stories will,
yes.
align.
Yeah.
But he's a bit of a character, right?
Oh, yeah, he's a character. No, we arrived at BBH and it was very much the David Colbert show at the time.
Yeah,
he had The Guardian and Axe and all of that. And we were just, very big fans. Raph and I were just like, oh.
So you didn't know him from before?
No.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Because I suppose... Yeah, you've just been brought together, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, we didn't know him before.
Yeah. And did you know Bill Scott from then as well?
No, we just missed Bill, actually. He left as we arrived.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And was there a culture shock from the change in agency from Joburg to London? Or is everything run the same way?
No, there was a culture shock. There were a few things that shocked me.
Tell us, I'm intrigued.
Well, first of all, South Africans are very direct, as you can tell. So I'll never, ever forget our first review at BBH because we had a review and we went through the work and I remember the CDs at the time were like, yeah, that's interesting. And we were like, oh, they think it's interesting. That's good. That's good.
The undertone of interesting.
Yeah, we very quickly learned that interesting means it's a pile of shit. And remove it immediately, like exit the room and go think on. But so that was a good learning curve. Yeah, and I think it was different just in terms of it's a lot more film focused. I think the UK generally than South Africa is. South Africa, we kind of look at other mediums. The budgets are much smaller, so it's how do we cut through on other mediums.
Talking about culture, just a quick one. So when I worked at BBH and they sent us to New York briefly, and we went into a review to the American creative directors, and we had the scripts, and Adam and I just gave them to the creative directors, and just because that's what Hegarty wanted. Hegarty never wanted you to act it out.
Yeah,
just give me the script.
Exactly.
I'll read it and I'll tell you if it's any good. And so we handed it to them, and they said, "Yeah, okay." So and they the stage is yours, and they wanted us to act the bloody thing out.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Oh right," and so that was really scary because then now I'm sort of with it, and you gauge the room, don't you?
Exactly.
Do you want to perform it or not? But it was. It's funny that, isn't it? How different cultures want you to present.
Totally. And you do, and you get set in your ways. And I mean, in South Africa, we kind of just used to jot down our ideas and go into reviews and just chat about it, And here we had to they were like, okay, so where's the presentation? Where are the scamps? You want
And
us?
so the litmus test now is when people are presenting to you, do you now say, oh, that's interesting?
Funnily enough, I have found myself saying that on several occasions. I am becoming more and more British. I mean, I can't even go into the sun anymore without getting burnt. I'm like, this is it. This is it. I'm finally British. Yeah.
I remember, I think he was a friend of Tony Granger, Jan Jacobs. And so we used to watch Jan go into reviews, and exactly what you said, he'd have this small piece of paper with 8 things written on it.
Yeah.
And him and Leo that'd be it. And so again, like me and Adam were like, all right, is that the way to do it then? And I suppose you find the way you're meant to do it, but it is.
It's funny, yeah. Everyone has their own little way of doing things, and then you have to adjust and learn very quickly.
And do you find it's been different at different agencies as well since you've been here, or is it the British way, do you think?
No, I think it is. I think there are similarities. There's certain things that they all have in common, but they are definitely all have their own flavor of how to do things for sure. I mean, from the limited experience of 2 agencies that I've been at, they have both been quite different.
It's the industry, isn't it? And you're getting to see lots of people who have also worked at different agencies.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
interesting to see how they come in.
Yeah,
to you
and they do. They all have different ways, but I like that. I embrace that. I mean, and I don't think everyone should have the exact same way of presenting things. If you love acting out your scripts, go for it. If you want to show a little scrappy piece of paper with an idea on, that's fine too.
Phew. Right, so we're going to go to Droga 5 now and talk about, I'm going to get this wrong, Vestiaire
Collective.
Vestiaire Collective, thank you. So this is obviously completely different to the Zimbabwean, but what I thought about it the other night was it's still got a big heart. There's something really, really good about it, which I love. So for those who don't know, Vestiaire Collective is an online marketplace where you can buy and sell pre-loved luxury fashion. So I was thinking last night, it's a bit like Vinted, of which my daughters will probably cringe and go, no, it's nothing like Vinted. I have actually sold a couple of things on Vinted, I feel quite proud of. But
you should be proud.
It's a place where you trade secondhand stuff, right?
Yeah, you buy and sell luxury items.
Great, I suppose a great premise, a great brand to tuck your teeth into. And what I love about this campaign, much like all your work, it's brilliantly simple and brilliantly crafted. So, in this campaign, you use all the tropes of fashion advertising, the catwalk and the glamorous art direction and the moody, pouty models. But instead of those models being real, they're puppets made entirely of pre-loved clothing, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's just such an it's an ace idea. But then, we love it. And on the poster, it's just great. So you just got this lineup of models with real people. How did you do it?
It was so much fun to make this. Excruciatingly painful at times as well, I have to say.
What, to sell it to the client or to make it happen?
Both.
Oh, so because I was intrigued at the entry point of, did they embrace it or was it quite hard to buy into?
The truth is, certain people in the company embraced it, but needed to sell it into the company in its entirety. And there were a lot of skeptics, really? I think, within Vestiaire about whether it would work. But they did. Once they bought into it, they were fully on board and did everything to make it happen. And they were incredible, very collaborative and amazing clients.
Did all of the clothes come from the...
Yeah, all of the clothes came from the platform itself. Wow. Yeah.
So how do you start a project like that? Because if you go, in conventional land, you go, here's a TV script, let's look for a director. Here's a shoot, let's get a photographer. Or it's a bit of a hybrid, we'll get a bit of a posse around it. But this, I wrote my notes. You're actually making your own cast.
Yeah, exactly that. But I think what's nice about this, and this was something I got to work with very closely with David on. But what's nice about it is that, when it comes to, the fashion industry and secondhand clothing and all of that, it tends to be very serious. And especially when it's got a message, around the environment, usually it either is a bit finger pointy and it's like, you should not buy new clothing and all of that. Yeah. Or it's very like fashion led and quite serious and a little bit snobbish.
Yeah.
So we were like, how do we do something completely different to all of that? And poke a little bit of fun at ourselves and not take itself so seriously, be a bit lighthearted. And so the obvious solution to all of that is puppets.
Yeah, of course.
No, but there was actually a little bit more logic because we were like, they have different kind of consumers, different tribes on their websites, that different things appeal to them. And the name Collective, Vestiaire Collective, we were like, how do we make kind of fashion icons that would appeal to each of those individual segments?
Right.
So the collective of puppets each have their own personality that would appeal to the different kind of tribes. So there is logic in there as well.
Because all of that architecture works, and they do that in articles. They go, hey, here's the early adopter, here's like the fashion victim, all of that. Which
exactly.
I get. And then they just have just like real people. But then the moment you said, make them from that's where you go to the touch to light speed, isn't it? At that moment, did you go, that's it? How soon into the process? Was it a pitch thing?
Oh, it was straight away. It was straight away. Right. It was like, David was like actually just, he's always been obsessed with puppets, and this felt like the perfect time to actually introduce the puppets that we always talk about into this campaign. And it just made perfect sense. It was
it's cool. It's so we talked about great agencies, we talked about Mother, BBH, Droga 5. It's without trying to, bunch them all together. It has that edginess, that coolness. It's great strategically. It's got a great idea, but then the way it's done is just so unique.
The production craft. I always come back to production.
So much craft went into that.
Because I've been in production all my career. It's like that. The craft here.
Yeah.
It's just stunning because you feel the photography incredible because it's fashion. It feels fashion photography.
Yeah.
But the craft for the models. Did you have a model making company come in?
Yeah, we did, and actually because Andreas did the film, and actually his set production company helped us a lot with the puppets as well. So it was an incredible collaborative process. We all got stuck in really, and we really went into the tiniest of details, like because each one of these puppets, literally, I'll show you the sketches and all of that. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, send them over.
I'd love to send them over because they each have their own personality, which we've written extensively about, and all of that dictated the items that they would be actually made from. So she's got nods. That's Miss Classique over there, and she's got nods to, Chanel, obviously without overtly showing it, but just the tweed and all of that, the long eyelashes, the eyes slightly
the
closed.
Process feels like a collective as well, which
exactly.
is quite nice. You talked about the filmmaker and model maker.
Yeah, we all came together.
Where did you start? Did you start? Excuse me, because sometimes you go, if you meet a director who's big enough and brilliant enough, you can do it all with them. Did you start by talking to someone to make them puppets? Where did you start?
We started with sketches
of your own.
So we actually, for the client presentation, we got an artist to sketch the puppets. Once we'd bought into the idea, we got puppet makers involved. They did sketches. Then and when I say I did sketches personally. And like I say, when we got the director involved, his set producers did sketches as well, and then you'd
written character synopsis for
each
one,
we'd had character synopsis for each one, and then we started mixing elements from all of our sketches together to create these puppets.
Nice.
So we had a very,
it's like gorillas a bit, right? You're creating your own.
Exactly.
And did David have the final say on which puppets were
Yes,
allowed?
he did.
Does David have all of the puppets somewhere in his garage?
He does not, unfortunately. He wanted to.
I bet
he wanted to hoard the puppets, but he didn't get his way.
So how big are they?
They are big. They're like my height.
They're human.
They're actually about a head shorter than me.
And sorry, I'm so fast. I'm getting really into it now. So were they? So they're a real puppet?
They're real puppets.
And then how was it? How did?
It was.
Stills?
Oh, don't even get me started on the way. The stills were actually relatively easy compared to the film shoot, because the way these puppets move, the puppets, they're kind of awkward and they don't walk very well and all of that. But getting the movement right was days of rehearsing.
Because I keep forgetting we're the Billboard guys. So but it's like, in a way, it's perfect because the sort of fashion stances. You can.
Well, that's what we try to do, is take it very seriously, but with puppets, which is where the comedy comes in.
Yeah, and it works brilliantly, doesn't it? Because you look at it and you go, "Oh, there's something slightly off about this, as in my brain, and then you go, oh right, you know, it's
they're just puppets.
and then it's rewarding, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, from our point of view, it's a great way to be. I imagine, the film would have been very.
But the nice thing about the film,
But this is even closer to my heart, the out of home, because, like you say, it's just you're so used to seeing that as a medium, you know, in fashion, and just. It's you got to do a double take. It's like, oh, it's what you used to seeing. Oh, but wait, but it's with a puppet. It's like, what's going on?
and I think that you can on set, I imagine, for the photographic shoot, you can pour over the scene and the pose and for a long time.
Absolutely, because you'd be amazed how just the slightest shift of, you know, the head gives him a completely different kind of attitude, you know, and like just
and the way
his eyes
hang, you know, so it is a real fashion shoot, isn't it?
It is a real fashion shoot.
But it's also, I imagine, you know, some of them just have the puppets in and some of them have people in. But that doesn't harm it. In fact, it sort of makes it more powerful. Yeah. Because it's like, this is what we want you to do.
Yeah,
you know, to
exactly.
Wear. So I think, I mean, look, we could.
And they're part of the community. And I love the fact that they all then became influencers in their own right. They all have their own like Instagram channel and all of that. God. So it's all, you know. Yeah, and they're on the platform and they give you advice and tips. And
I watched one of them the other day, and he gets to the end and says something like, he tries to get his you know, you to follow him before he can get his thing out.
Yeah, exactly.
The ad finishes. He goes, the ad's going to finish quick. Follow me. So it's very, it's very self.
Just before we finish, we've spoken a lot about the visual side of this, but I'm surprised he hasn't gone here straight away because he's our copywriter. Long Live Fashion.
Long Live Fashion, yes, that is.
Written by you guys? Or
yes,
was that
written by us, exactly. So that was the big platform idea, Long Live Fashion.
Yeah, you forget, I mean, it's such a great idea, isn't it?
Such a good line as well for what the product is.
Yeah, because I was thinking, because my daughters are a big advocate of this, so they never buy new. They can't afford to buy new, so I don't give them. Well, I haven't got any money, so. But they go.
It's all for pocket money now, though, so they could go out and earn.
But they go. You know, like yesterday, Martha bought 4 tops from the Second Chance charity shop at the end of the road for about, I don't know, 20 quid. And they're all really good. And then she could have got a brand new top in H&M for 35, one thing. And she said, no, I don't. And that's how they work. Yeah. I really hope that's how the future is, because, you know, it is one of the
Absolutely, it just makes sense.
Yeah. Long live fashion.
Long live fashion.
Right. We're going to talk about fashion. This is going to be a great link, this. Diet Coke. I was going to do a time for Diet Coke break link. Oh. But, you know.
There you go.
What
time is it? No, it's 10:20. Sorry,
10:20.
No break.
But also that's a very old.
No break. Sorry,
we're all showing our age
now. So I don't know. I'm going to pass over to Dan on this one. I think. I mean, because well, I don't know. I mean,
do you think it's interesting?
No, it's we love it. But Dan had a main question about the tin.
I did. We were talking about it yesterday on the phone, and this one's in particular. So this is the girl holding the can. The can looks oversized. Has it been retouched or?
It's not a puppet holding a can, is it?
No. It's actually her holding the can. I don't think it was retouched. I think that is the actual size, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you being canish?
It could have been, but I don't remember it being made bigger.
Don't worry, we're not going to focus the whole
maybe it's
segment on
a perspective thing?
Yeah, maybe it's a perspective thing.
Because it's a great, for people who haven't seen it.
That's big now that you mentioned.
Yeah. It says just because, and it has a series of ironic, semi-ironic, knowing, not knowing, fashiony shots. A man in curlers, a woman in a shop just holding one. But everything about it, the lighting, the art direction, it's just fucking out there.
Yeah.
And I love it. I remember being on an awards jury recently and seeing it, and it just stood out like a dog's dick. But then nameless people voted it down. So
oh, really?
If you want to,
how rude.
Buy me, if you want to buy me a Coke,
what was the rationale?
Yeah, well, I'd be very interested to know.
They didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's where we were going to ask. But how did this come about? Because it's very, very out there, attitude-y. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, it was just a celebration of the mindset of Diet Coke drinkers. You know, of just like doing what they want. You know, that slight mischievous, bold. We'll do what we want kind of when we want, just celebrating individual authenticity, and drinking it just because they feel like it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't need an excuse to do this. I
don't need an excuse. I don't need a specific time. It's just celebrating that unapologetic attitude of I'll do like what I want when I want, just because, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it all goes back to what we did is we took the Diet Coke ads of the past and we almost like revamped them. So you'll see it, not revamp them, sorry, there's definitely a better word for that. But it's just got a nod to those nostalgic ads, but suited to a more modern market. I mean, we remember the Diet Coke ads where they all took a break and watched the hunk, you know, in their break.
Yeah.
And this is a celebration of that break, but just done, you know, for the current audience and mindset that they're in, but retaining some of the elements. So we retained the jingle, but just reworked it in the film. We've retained that like kind of nostalgic 80s feel to it, you know, where product was heroed and front and center, and you know, it did have that slight like airbrushed over the top feel. So it's just a nod to that.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the art direction is just fantastic. And then the photography, was it?
Autumn de Wilde, she's incredible. I mean, she did the film and these as well.
Did both?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this because this must be the one where, I mean, she's just in a kind of convenience store with a can of Coke.
Yeah.
So like if you describe it, you go, yeah, it's just going to be a woman in a convenience store holding a can of Coke. But then you look at it and it's just got so much, you know, zinging off the type and it's
her attitude, and you know, she's actually wearing her pajamas in that. And she's just like, she just doesn't care. And it comes through in, you know, just her expression as well.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. I love the just because, again, it's a bit like I've got 2 teenage daughters and I just get that a lot.
Just because.
Yeah, and it's next sentence, shut up, Dad. So
no, it was a lot of fun to work on, and she's just, when it comes to art direction and craft and styling things, she's just stunning, it's just such a pleasure. She elevates everything just to that.
And as an idea, it's so perfectly suited to posters and outdoor.
Exactly. It's just so simple.
And it goes back to what you were saying earlier on about what's happening in the agency when you're saying, show me what it looks like on a poster, and
exactly that.
It does its job perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, and I think it's different to everything else you see out there, especially, I mean, I think so often these days people try and bury the product like at the bottom corner in like a tiny logo.
And
but it's nice to
no
celebrate
big logo on there.
Yeah,
it's the can. It's the product.
can
like
is the logo.
It's a product placement.
Exactly.
From in a TV show.
Exactly
that. It's the can on the table.
Yeah, I remember someone. I'm probably going to get this wrong. Like Paul Arden or someone said, or Trotty or someone said, instead of putting it there, like you said, put it right. Try and do it right in the middle.
Yeah.
And then it's real. You know, that's where you should probably always start. But then sometimes you think, shit, I can't get there from here. But this is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, because like you say, Dan, it's just someone drinking the product ultimately, but it's done with such style and panache and, you know, attitude. It elevates it beyond being, it's someone just drinking the can of Coke.
Was it easy to sell into the client?
Yes. It really was. Really good client. They loved the idea from the start. I mean, we actually pitched on it, and this was the pitch work. It was all done, like this from the start. It was one of those ideas that just felt like it was right from the very beginning.
Right, we're going to, just because we can.
Just because.
We're going to move on to the last campaign. So weirdly, this is for Amazon Prime Video, and Dan and I were saying it's actually quite conventional for you, because we were chatting about the other ones. They're so big and out there, but then this campaign has this wonderful line, great shows stay with you. And I was thinking as a creative, you know, when you get that moment, you go, fucking hell, that's it, and we're ready to roll. Did that come? I'm not being nosy. Did it come from the planner? Come sort of creative? What point? Because there's obviously a moment when you go, that's the line. And then you did all the TV and...
So the line came from the creatives, from the creative team that worked on it. And we loved the line, and there were lots of films that came from it and all of that. But the reason I like these billboards is because the obvious solution, and what people usually do when they want to advertise the fact that they have great content, is advertise the content.
The content, yeah.
And what I like about these is they don't advertise the content as much as they hero the effect that the content has on you.
The emotive feeling it can have on you.
Exactly.
Because we all talk about this. What are you watching at the moment? What are you watching at the moment? And you end up playing out some scenes to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this and that's kind of what we loved about it, is just the fact that, you know, the insight that great shows stay with you long after the show, because like you say, you know, you're always going to be quoting it later on, or you start wearing things that remind you of the show and things like that. So that was the insight. That's what we liked about great shows stay with you.
This is one of my favorite ones. We're looking at the chefs in the kitchen, and it's for All or Nothing Manchester City, I think it wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the chefs in the kitchen, but it looks like a halftime team
talk.
Yeah.
The Pep Guardiola team talk of chefs. You know, I love that. It's
because you learn something from these things. You know, you
leadership
can implement
skills,
it
the
in
whole
your
thing's
own.
in there,
Exactly,
right?
it's all in there. It's all.
It's one of those things where you get the line, and I suppose with the luxury of film, you know, you got 30 seconds to tell that story.
Yeah.
What I love about this billboard campaign, it's you've got to do it in one shot. You know, art director. Put the light, get everything right. So I know, you know, when your eye goes down to the product, whether it's All or Nothing or
Hannah
or
was that Jack Ryan?
Jack Ryan.
That was good, yeah.
And it's that moment where, I don't know if it was someone I used to know, like J. Pond Jones or someone else said, the reward you get when you look down at the logo and you go, so it's not all there, but it's a quick moment, and then you go, and then it's even more enjoyable. Right?
That's it. I think the other thing that these do is, and they were all in like long dwell times, so in tube stations and stuff, so you can actually really look and find these little nuggets that you pick up on, you know, later on once you interrogate them. But what I like about it is that it tells a whole story just in one visual.
Yeah, it's so hard to get right.
Yeah.
When you get that right, and you got these shots of multiple people in the frame as well. So the All or Nothing one and this Jack Ryan one, you start to look at the expressions on people's faces.
Exactly.
You start to feel more of the emotion. I kind of love that. Telling a longer story with only the 5 words.
That's exactly what I mean, because, you know, on first glance, you would never notice the kid in the back that's like really angry. But then once you see it a few times, then you start seeing these little Easter eggs that are hidden in the background.
It's a real art form. We talked recently on our Instagram feed about the BA work that Nils and the guys at Uncommon did, where there's
500 different creatives in that.
Yeah, and there's just
it's
3 or 4 words on a piece of paper. There's actually no visual. There's a lot of white space, but you know the narrative about someone going in remission or propose. It is so well done, and it makes me think of that in a way. You've done it the other way. That's very rich, you know, but the visual tells the whole story. And I'd actually go far as saying it's like great ads stay with you. You know, you walk away from it and you go, oh yeah, the one I like is and I've never even seen the show, is the last one called for Vikings. But it's a woman doing her makeup like a Viking, and all the other women are like, what? And there's a very funny TV film I remember. But it's sort of like you go, yeah, there's a real truth in it, isn't it?
It must have been quite fun for that part of the creative process. The line's written. Now you have an entire catalogue of incredible shows to go back through and find the thing, the nugget, the thing that stays with you.
It was a lot of fun, although it is quite a difficult task, you know, especially because you only have one visual to tell a whole story in. I actually think it was easier to do in film, where you can explain the whole story, but narrowing it down to just one visual that tells a whole long story was quite a challenge.
Have we got 5 in here?
Yeah, we got this one. The operation.
Tell us the ones that got away then, the ones that didn't make it.
Oh God, there were so many. I'm trying to remember.
Did you have to do? Were you given shows that you had to do?
Yeah.
Could you pick the shows? No, you had to.
Well, no, they have the most popular shows that they wanted to advertise, so we had to kind of do it for those. But there was quite a range. So yeah, it was good. I think that was quite a difficult one. That's one we had quite a few different variations on.
It reminds me of the beginning of this chat where you got to be able to say it on a poster, right?
Yeah.
So like you go, you got the great line, great show, Steve. You're right. Now what you got? And you go, all right. But it's still got to work in what? second, 2-3 seconds, and then go back and enjoy it. So
Exactly.
It reminds you of someone who's doing Specsavers ads where I'm there at the moment, and it's like it appears so easy. You go, oh yeah, and then when you start trying to do them, you go, fucking hell, this is harder.
Yeah,
We've talked about
absolutely.
this before on The Economist. And
Yeah.
Yes, I did say it. I have to put a penny in.
Right.
But it must have been so hard working on Economist ads when
Yeah, totally.
all the great stuff that's gone before as
Yeah,
well. And you've
so
got
hard.
kind of a long-running theme and an open brief.
Yeah.
Is that brief still going, or is it the Great Show Stay With You, or has it moved on now? Because
Not. We haven't done work for it for a while, but yeah, I believe it's still running.
right, time is moving on.
Yes, and we need to get you to your next appointment very quickly. So,
okay.
favorite billboard of all time?
Oh my God, the
everyone.
pressure.
Yeah.
Favorite billboard of all time.
Just you don't have to. Actually, you do. Yeah, you got to tell us. Well, we can give you some options, or you can send us. A lot of people pick The Economist.
I mean, The Economist is definitely up there as one of my favorites. I mean, there's also some recent ones that I love, like I love the Heinz ones where they asked people to just draw ketchup and they drew Heinz. I mean, I thought that was really smart.
That's amazing. Yeah, Russell our previous guest picked IKEA, where the sleep products look like.
Oh yeah, that was lovely too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Heinz one's definitely up there for me. I don't know if it's of all time, but it's definitely of current times for me.
It's very hard to say.
One of my favorites.
It's like picking your favorite family member.
Yeah, it's so hard
always
because
gonna
I have
piss someone
so
off.
many favorites, and of course, right now I've gone
That's the
blank,
dog.
but I have like tons of them. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
But I think I've always admired what McDonald's has done purely because they can afford to put no logo on. And it's still instantly recognizable and strikingly simple. So there's a lot of that stuff that I like too.
Their directional campaign they did in the US, it's just that is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Genius, isn't
so good. They've done quite a few that are so good, just with the colors.
Yeah,
or just
the delivery one.
chips.
was
Exactly,
incredible,
just so good.
KFC as well was getting better and better. We had
Yeah.
Anna on. Okay, last thing. Do you have any tips at all? We always, if we have time, ask people, do you have any tips for teams, creators, anything for what makes a great billboard? Is there anything you live by or tell teams to follow?
Well, for me, it's simplicity.
Yeah.
Is first and foremost. Simplicity and clarity. And then I think it's just how do you surprise people?
Right. Right. Yeah.
I think you have to surprise people. Otherwise, it's just going to be wallpaper. So it's just... what is different or stand out about it that's going to get people's attention and entertain them in some way?
Although wallpaper could work, right?
Wallpaper could work.
Maybe that for a newspaper.
I actually did.
Hey.
You just reminded me. I did an ad with literal wallpaper for
did you?
a billboard once.
Look at
Yeah.
that. What a rounding off. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for sparkling on our social.
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
You too. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was amazing.
That was great.
Yeah, she is such a star.
And she's come here on one of the busiest days
Oh,
in
no.
Canada by the sounds of it.
Shelly Smoler, thank you so much. That was, not only were you sparkling on our sofa, the work was sparkling, everything was amazing. I'm really hoping she's going to win that pitch.
Yeah, she's gone to a pitch and then off to campaign.
And also got lost on the way here, but came in not flustered at all. Just,
So easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
This stuff's easy.
Yeah.
We should be professional.
Why don't we run should we open an advertising agency?
We're great at talking about the work.
Yeah, but not actually. Let's do some work. No, so that was ace. We've been very lucky to have Shelley today. So hopefully you'll all enjoy it.
Yes. I mean, it's been great. It's great coming back. We've been off since the summer, and this being episode 2 of our new season, we've got some incredible guests to come. So
yes,
do keep following us on social. We do have to say again a massive thanks to our sponsor, Talent Outdoor. I think they're officially the world's largest independent out-of-home specialist out there. So, incredible stuff coming from the Talent team, and we're very, very thankful for the support they've given us over the years, especially this year with the Cannes live broadcast. and all the stuff that we've got coming up with them as well.
Yeah, thank you, Talon. Amazing support. We literally wouldn't be here without. Well, we would, but we'd be broke.
And the microphones would be really tinny and horrible.
Yeah, and we'd be in your front room.
Yeah, we'd be on a Zoom call still.
No, so thank you, Talon, and long may it continue. We've got big plans.
Big plans. So yeah, follow us on social and like and subscribe.